I always tell you can use different types of sugar to make sugar wax, but other than brown sugar, I don't think I've ever shown you the differences. So with one recipe, we're gonna make sugar 3 ways. And if you know me, then you know that turbinado sugar is my sugar of choice, but the most common type is just regular white granulated sugar. And of course, also you can use brown sugar, which is the same thing with the presence of molasses, which is normally removed in the refined sugar making process. Of course, lemon, lime juice, or calamansi, and water. You technically can use vinegar, but I always highly recommend that you use lemon or lime because you can run into a few issues with vinegar. And technically you should be able to use powdered sugar because all of these types have one thing in common. They're made from sugarcane. But the issue with powdered sugar is that it usually contains cornstarch. And if you're wondering why that's problematic, then you'll see later. So we've got granulated, brown, and powdered sugar. When you buy store-bought, it normally only has about 3% of cornstarch. This is like double, which is on purpose because I want you to see the effects of it. I have 2 cups of each, and to that I'm going to add half a cup of lemon and half a cup of water. I've put all of these on the heat at the same time. But what you may have already immediately noticed is that the powdered sugar, the texture of it already seems way different. Food storage companies have gaslit us into believing plastic is safe with heat. It's not. While that may be okay for heating up your food, I guarantee you that does not apply here because the food that you're anticipating eating is not reaching temperatures this high. Again, this is your PSA that boiling sugar is extremely hot. It can exceed temperatures of 300 degrees Fahrenheit, so please be very careful and be fully closed. The powdered sugar, due to the cornstarch, is already thickening because that's what it does. It absorbs moisture, which in this case is shorthanding the sugar, which should be melting into that water, while the lemon is helping invert the sugar. Therefore, this type is easy to burn because it's cooking too fast and it doesn't have enough liquid to support this process. Similar to when you're cooking food, you may have noticed it on your sauce or gravy, the cornstarch can cause a film or a skin to form. So the texture is very stretchy instead of sticky, and that we definitely don't want, because we rely on that stickiness to grab the hair and pull it out. And again, this is dramatization. So if you store-bought, this isn't going to be as drastic, but it is going to be present. It has a little bit of a spring to it, so it snaps back. So out of all the mixtures, this is the one that I obviously did not bottle. So these remaining are made from granulated sugar, brown sugar, and turbinado sugar. And I've gotten a few questions about where's all of my stuff linked because the website is no longer working. So for those who don't know, the blog is currently under construction. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it together. But thank you to Squarespace regardless, because I still use them to host it and I'm still using it on the back end. As easy as the platform is to use, the templates are there. All I gotta do is click and drag. The problem is me. It's I know what I want. I don't have a visual of what that looks like. But what I should actually do is create a coming soon page. Right now, I have it just on private so that it is not public. But a landing page is great for when you want to share a concise message, great for portfolios, or if you offer services, you can create a calendar where people can book appointments. And of course, you can create a bio site, which I personally use to help people navigate across all of my socials. If any of that sounds like something you could use, feel free to use my discount code abetweene or head to squarespace.com/abetweene. And with it, I've made 3 of the 4 types of sugar wax, which is strip, soft, and firm. One of the most common comments that I get is that your sugar is sticking to your fingers. That's a good thing, because even though it looks like my sugar is not sticking to my fingers, it most definitely is. What you're seeing is just a result of me having experience with it and being able to manipulate it in a way that I am in control. For the most part, sugar actually wants to stick to itself more than it wants to stick to anything else. firm, holds its shape very well, but it's still pliable enough to manipulate and apply to the skin. And it's the most versatile formula because this is the right consistency for almost everyone. Strip sugar is somewhere between a syrup and a paste. It's closer to the paste, but just by looking at it, you'll already notice that it behaves very much like a syrup. So once you scoop it out of the jar, you'll see it doesn't hold its shape. In fact, it'll melt back into itself almost immediately, which you can absolutely see in the portion I've already taken out of the jar. I can't flick this off. As the name implies, strip sugar can only be used with strips. The good thing is that you can use any cotton fabric to take this off, including a sock. Look, it's the closest thing I could find and it's clean. Your body temperature is warming it up, and you're also manipulating a lot, so the friction is creating heat and you're incorporating air, so air bubbles are getting trapped in the sugar. So as you're using it, it's melting, so what you're seeing is totally normal. It's softer than what it looked like when I started, but technically it still has the same properties, thus it will work the same. So you'll see I can still remove all of that stickiness from my fingers by consciously manipulating it. And the only thing I'm not demonstrating is the soft, because by sight alone, it's going to look exactly the same. Or shall I say, it's going to look like it's behaving the same. So the conditions in which you would use it is if you literally just need something softer. Actually, I do have a video on that. So if you are wondering like what exactly are the differences between them all and how to tell which one you actually need, I'll link it in the description box and it'll be popping up on the screen. So it feels different, but it still works. And I can continue to the point that it feels like it's completely breaking down. This is the peanut butter phase. It's still stretching, but it's getting meltier and meltier, and the color's changing due to those trapped air bubbles. So in conclusion, firm, it will hold its initial shape for quite some time. So if I were to make an indentation in a soft and a firm paste, the soft would melt back into itself faster than the firm would, and the hard would take significantly more time. Each of these sugars basically contain less and less liquid. The liquid and the sugar are now one. The more liquid the final formulation contains, the runnier it will be, and the less it contains, the more solid it will be. I also feel like I could have filmed this video better, but as you know, the executive function don't be functioning. If you want me to do it again, maybe using one sugar to make different stages instead of different sugars to make different stages, let me know.